Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pro Football Historian channel. I'm your host, Lynn Given. And today we'll be discussing all the AFC West, NFC West, AFC South, and NFC South division. I apologize for the last video I did where there was no audio. Pretty much wasted an hour of my time, made it pretty much an unwatchable video. So today I will be discussing the divisions I messed up on or in that video, and then we will go through them quickly because otherwise we'll be here over 2 hours. We will not do the schedule, but I'll give you the record of the team. So we're going to start with the Texans, and we'll just go over what big changes are going to happen. Obviously, Davis Mills is the quarterback, probably for most, if not all, the year. And then running back wise, it's going to be a little bit different with no David Johnson. I think Damian Pierce is eventually going to get this job. Maybe not week one, but Marlon Mack is the guy starting in the 2 preseason games that I've seen. So just expect that. And the receiving back is Rex Burkhead. So that's what the running back core is. Receiver wise, you just hope Nico Collins steps up a little bit and not big changes otherwise. And then tight end Brevin Jordan, you hope he breaks out in the second year. It's more of one of those receiving tight ends. And hopefully develop a block. Key guys to watch here, obviously Jared Hughes, aging veteran, but can at least be a pass rusher for them on third down. And then Greenard, he is potentially really good. People don't really know about him, but he's a guy just to watch out for. And then linebackers, all a lot of borderline starters, special team guys. Most of these guys have been in the league for good, 6-7 years, but nothing special. Steven Nelson coming off his career year, you could say, in Philadelphia. Is the starting corner, you can say. I mean, Derek Stingley should eventually be their number one, if isn't already. Obviously, drafted third overall. And, Petrie is another, rookie safety for this team. And they got some depth, but nothing special here. And so, obviously, the roster is not anything special, but so division, I'm going to think the record's probably 3-14-ish around. They could win a little bit more than that, and I don't really expect much lower than that. I think they're a little bit better than last year, but not by a lot. And then I gave them 2 division wins. Because if you look, they competed against the Titans last year in the division a little bit in those games, even though the Titans gave them one of them. And then the Jags, they beat them twice last year. So, I think the Jags will be improving. We'll be talking about them very soon. Let's go with the Colts. Offensively, a lot of the same. Obviously Matt Ryan's now the quarterback, but you hope Paris Campbell can play. He's been getting hurt all the time. And if he's not hurt, he can be their number one more than Michael Pittman is. And then Alec Pierce, I like that draft pick. We'll see what he is year one, but it's one of those 6'3" kind of guys that are pretty fast. Pretty good at everything. Has some issues, but can be really good for them, and not a lot behind him. Guys have been in the league. Ashton Davis. Sorry, not Davis, but he's just an undrafted guy. I think it's his second year. QT's been on the Texans and stuff. But again, nothing special here. Tight ends, Mo Ali Cox is gonna be the guy. Most of the guys are gonna be blocking tight ends for them, and they hope Jelani Woods develops. Eventually, can maybe take the job from Mo Ali Cox. Offensive line, it's a solid group with some special players like Nelson. Ryan Kelly's pretty good. Rainsford's a decent right tackle, but they have enough here. They should be fine. Defensively, Unique Ngakwe is their at least third down pass rusher. Really should help this team out. Quiddy Pay might be. We'll see what he does in year 2. and they got some guys that can play the run when Ngakoue is not on the field. And then get Shaquille Leonard, formerly called Darius Leonard, and Okereke. I think trying to think of the changes. How well there's a way to say it. I'm probably saying it wrong now. Karake, that's how you say it now. But either way, he's a pretty good player. I don't think Franklin's gonna be much on the field. And then we'll see what rookie Nick Cross is, and Jordan Blackman's been a nice player on the field. I think it's Stephon Gilmore. Should be a really good team, really good roster. People don't know they were leading games more than the Packers and the Titans, the number one seed last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. So I think they're a better team now. Didn't really lose much, and that should help them. Hopefully win the division, if not at least a playoff spot. Sorry, let's go to the records. If I had to do this again, I think I actually might pick the Colts for the division. I don't have really picked, but I'm going through the schedule. Um, I think 10-7 is, an average place to put them. I can see him winning 11. I don't really see him getting more than 12. Um, yeah, so let's go to Jacksonville now. There's a lot of changes in Jacksonville. I'm going to be Trevor Lawrence second year. He looks much improved from last year. Just the look of it, not necessarily he's play on the field. You only really see him one game so far in preseason. ETN I kind of like. It is a little smaller than you would want in a running back, but either way, they had James Robinson when he comes back healthy. ETN should be a really good player for them. And Christian Kirk's the number one. I don't really love it, but they got basically a bunch of number twos, if not threes, as a starter. And they got some decent depth. They got at least 5 receivers for sure. They can play, and then Agnew's also going to make the team because of special teams. Then Evan Ingram, hopefully he could say breaks out, or hopefully this second team he shows what he was. Because remember, he was a first round pick. Offensive line wise, interior is a little bit of a question other than Sheriff. Obviously, Sheriff's a really good player. And tackles are pretty good, and they have Walter Little also as decent depth. But right now, that's Jags offense. It should be way better. And then defensively, they got a bunch of freaky kind of athletes on this team. People don't really notice that. They got Faikasi stop the run. Josh Allen, him defensive end. They're going to mix in, Kayvon Chason around the place. Got Devin Lloyd. They drafted first round. Luakon they signed. They even got some other decent, like Chad Muma. They drafted some middle linebackers or linebackers in general. And Roy Robertson Harris is a decent player against the run. Got Hamilton. Got a bunch of guys. Gotts isn't even on this team. So got a bunch of guys that can really do whatever. And then obviously Trayvon Walker, first overall pick. He's going to be really good. Really liked him. I have no problem taking him one. And corner-wise, they got a little bit of questions because with the scheme they're playing, Darius Williams, when he plays on the outside, you would want him more of like a cover 4 type system. That's not really what they're doing. They really don't have a slot guy. And if Tyson Campbell is more of an outside corner as well. Question is, who's going to be playing the nickel? And they're going to have issues there. And then they got, Cisco safety rookie Jenkins. Not great. They got some other guys that played for them. But secondary is definitely a question. But the front seven is really good. You underrate this Jacksonville front seven. And I gave him 4-13. I think that's more the low end. I think they can definitely get possibly even 7 wins. But I mean, it is even slight playoff chance. I don't really see it, but I just think there's too many questions in the secondary, and Lawrence and the offense would have to really improve to do that. go on the Titans. Um, really, the main changes is say it, backup running backs. Get Haskins in here from Michigan. They drafted later in the draft. Robert Woods they traded for, and Treylon Burks is the rookie first round pick. We've seen Westbrook before, last year in his rookie year. And they got some other guys. I know people mentioned Kyle Phillips. But again, this is more of a two receiver team, so you're really just going to see Woods and Burks for the most part. Austin Hoover upgraded tight end. And off in the lines, there's question marks. Right tackle, we'll see if he improves. But the left side's, they got some decent players. Ben Jones and obviously Taylor Lewan's really good. Offensively, not a lot has changed. Got pretty good players. Obviously, Simmons is a really good player. I think the people kind of overrate Landry and Bud Dupree for different reasons. Just their sack numbers are kind of inflated or more. They're not consistent with their pressure numbers. We'll see if they can replicate their past year, but they're still fine players. It's just they're no superstars. And then other than that, corners. There's questions here, but I think you would think enough of these guys would break out or play well. That's not going to be an issue. Like Christian Fulton played a little bit. Farley really hasn't played. I really like Farley coming out. We'll see what he does. And then got Elijah Molden, another decently high pick. McCrary, he should be the slot corner, though he's been outside at Auburn. So you got enough bodies there that you higher draft picks that these guys should be fine. Titans should be fine in the secondary. And Kevin Byard, really good player. And Hooker's decent safety. They can basically do whatever they need to do. So that is we need to go to the record. And again, I have the Titans going 12-5, 4-2 in the division. I think this is probably the high end. There's a lot of changes to the Titans. And I think Tannehill statistically is going to do way better than last year, but it's hard to be the first seed. I think, they won some games against some of the better teams. The chances of that happen are slim. I think there's a lot of things probably won't go their way like it did last year. And why they probably won't win 12 games, but we'll see. Okay, let's go to, the NFC South. Atlanta has a lot of changes. Mariota starting. You got the only running back difference really is Damian Williams and Algier, the rookie. You would think one of these guys could do decent in their zone heavy run scheme. Pretty much all new bodies here. You got Drake London, first rounder. Brian Edwards traded from the Raiders. Zacchaeus has been on this team. Geronimo House, I don't know if he's going to make it through your birds. More of a slot guy. Hodge. You got Alden Tate on here too, as a big body receiver from the Bengals. Again, I would think these would be the three mainly. They probably have another. Zacchaeus is not that much of a slot receiver, and he can play slot, but he's more of a deep threat. Kyle Pitt's really good. Then you have Ferkser from Tennessee. Tight ends groups, fine. Michael Pruitt's in there and stuff like that. Offensive line, it's not great. They've been having guard issues. Hopefully they can clean up. The interior of the line isn't great. The tackles are fine. And Lindstrom, former first round pick. Gary's a first round pick, but he's been a little bit better. But again, these other guys, it was bad last year, so it shouldn't be that as bad as last year at least. And then defensively, nothing super notable here other than Grady Jarrett, obviously. Deion Jones, I don't know if he's going to play. We'll see, I guess. Sean Evans from Tennessee, I believe. You know, so there's not a lot of superstar load under Carter. Maybe he'll do something as their outside linebacker in this 3-4 scheme. And AJ Terrell, really good player. He might be a top 5 corner. People just don't talk about him. Yeah, just really good corner. Casey Hayward's also aging veteran. Should be okay. He's going to get beat a couple occasionally. But other than that, there's really nothing to like really on this team. But again, they're in a rebuild. This is my team with the worst record. I don't know if that will be the case because we got some superstar star player talent on this team, but they just have a lot of holes. So you get the Falcons see 2-15, 2-4 in the division. They had some success against the Saints. Maybe they can split one. Panthers. This is before the Mayfield thing, so again, I'm gonna maybe redo this. I don't know if I'll do a video, but at least have it posted on my Facebook page for this Pro Football Story and stuff like that. But I'll do that down maybe after the preseason games, since there's a 2-week gap before the regular season starts. Now let's move on to the Saints. James Wooden currently injured, but should be okay. Andy Dawes the backup now. Taysom Hill, former quarterback, now a tight end. We got a bunch of tight ends here. Maybe they'll all make the team. If I had to pick one of them not make it, then that would be the guy. Kamara might be suspended early on. We'll say they got Mark Ingram again. He's wearing another jersey number. And then receivers. Top 3 guys right here. They were not on the team. Were playing really last year. Michael Thomas coming back. You got Jarvis Landry. You got Chris Olave in the first round. Callaway's been fine. You got Trayvon Smith. And then Deontay Harris, now Deontay Hardy. Special team guy. I don't know if Kevin White's really going to make the team around these other guys, but either way, should be way improved offensively. Offensive line's pretty much the same. Besides, the left tackle's changed, but Trevor Penny, first round pick, maybe he'll win that job. We'll see. Defensively, again, not a lot has changed. We'll see if Pete Werner might be a decent player. We'll see in this, get another year under him. And Payne Turner, we'll see if he contributes to this team. Right now, he's like, I've seen him in preseason against the Packers yesterday, and he was playing late in the game. That's not a good sign. I know he's coming off an injury. But the first round pick, second year, and you're playing and you're third on this depth chart, at least this page, it's not a good sign. But Kamar Davis, he is aging. He's still really, really good. He's still probably top 5 linebacker, middle linebacker at least. And then you would think Devo is going to win this job from Roby, but who knows? Maybe Roby's the other outside guy. Latimer's pretty good. And they have C.J. Gardner-Johnson for the slot. Marcus May and Matthew will be the safeties. You got P.J. Williams. They got Taylor. They got some other depth. They got even Justin Evans. Plenty of depth. This is arguably the best secondary in the league. Some other teams like Green Bay and a few others that can be in that discussion. So for the Saints, have 11-6, 5-1 in the division. They probably will get those wins over Tampa Bay. Just match up really well with them. And that's going to help them compete for the division. We'll see how James Winston is coming off an injury and now another injury, even though it's more minor, this one. But they should be fine. They should make the playoffs. Now, going in the Panthers, I did the record preview before they got Mayfield. Mayfield really helps his team. People act like he's barely better than Sam Darnold. I have Mayfield as around the 17th best quarterback and Darnold around the 35th. It's not that comparable. Yes, they're on the same draft pack. We're 2 picks different, first and third. But Mayfield's a way better quarterback just in general. I mean, the only thing he may have less is mobility, but you trust Mayfield way more. He's coming healthy. People just forget he wasn't hurt. He played hurt all last year, pretty much. Again, Christian McCaffrey though, coming back from injury, we'll see again. He's barely been playing, but if he's playing on the field, that really helps him. DJ Moore is a borderline top 5 receiver. People act like he is. I can understand, but he hasn't got the ball much, or as much as he should. He's on the Panthers. He's been on a terrible offensive scheme, terrible quarterback play. Other than that, Terrence Mitchell hopefully is the number 3, or Rashard Higgins could play some slot for them. Charlie Smith might have a chance. Special teams guys otherwise, mostly on the roster. And then Tommy Tremble they have as the number 1 tight end. Maybe he is. They did pay Ian Thomas decent money, so it's a little surprising. I do like both tight ends. I think offense they got what they need. It's just the offensive line is really the question to me, not the quarterback play. We'll see if Icky starts week 1. Tackles you would think would be good. Again, it's Icky's first year, so maybe he'll not play well, but we'll see. Corbett's a decent guard. And then you have questions at center and left guard, but it shouldn't be as bad as last year, at least. Defensively, Ioannidis should help them. He can give you some pass rush on the later downs. That's what they used him in Washington a bit. Linebackers, basically just Shaq Thomas and maybe Cordell Littleton plays a little bit, but Damian Wilson can also be a coverage linebacker. Maybe Lavu can help. But other than that, that's pretty much the main guys you need to focus on. Corners, they had a lot of corners last year that could play. They lost obviously a few in free agency. But C.J. Henderson traded for last year in the middle of the year. See what he does. I think he's more of an outside guy, but with J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson, unless they move Jackson to the nickel, which I don't see, it's going to be tough for C.J. Henderson to play unless he's playing nickel. And then they got Justin Burris and really good safety Jeremy Chin. Xavier Woods should help him with another safety. That's the guys to focus on in Carolina. It was a little better team than I initially had with the Mayfield trade and all that. And I did like them kind of last year to do better than what they did. So I try to not forget that. But I had them 3-14. I don't know if I really think that's the case. I can see them winning 6-7 games. Maybe 8 or 9 because their defense should be pretty good. Again, we'll see. Let's go to Tampa Bay now. We're not going to be discussing any Tom Brady things right now, but we know what Tom Brady is at this point. At least, well, some people do. Some people act like he's the best quarterback in the league currently. I do not have that, but, he could take advantage better maybe than everyone in terms of, the best players out there. He could probably do the best or do the most with those players. Really, a lot of the same. Obviously, I Gage and Julio Jones. We'll see. I think Julio Jones makes the team. Got a lot of receivers. They're going to have to cut someone. They got some really good receivers. One of these guys are going to have to get cut. Looks like Rachaad White is going to be their second running back. He can block, pass protect, and all that. I don't think he's a super athletic guy, but, you got Fournette anyway. Tight ends, no Gronkowski now. But Cameron Braid, Kyle Rudolph is probably going to be the main 2 tight ends. They drafted 2 tight ends too. So we'll see how they should all make the team. Offensive line, you got Stinney going to start for first real year starting. He's played a little bit. And then because of Ryan Jensen's injury, you got Robert Hainsey as the starter, so that's a question mark for a round pick in 2021. And Shaq Mason they traded for. So some questions interiorly, in the interior. But I think they'll be okay. I mean, there's only going to be a few teams that are going to be able to take advantage. Of the interior maybe infects Tom Brady, like the Saints that we talked about. Besides that, they should be fine. Trisha Ward, I expect to be healthy week one. Eventually, added Keenan Hicks to this crew, which is crazy to think. If he's anywhere close to what he was in his prime, it's going to be a really big boost to this team. Joe Tryon, Sharinka, if I said that right, but he is basically taking Jason Pierre-Paul's spot, being a first-round pick. Then you got David and White. Obviously, the starters, Shaquille Barrett, Shaq Barrett. Corners pretty much the same. You got Dean, you got Murphy Bunting, who's probably even their nickel. Robin Davis, another outside corner with Dean. Mike Edwards, you got Antoine Winfield, you got even Logan Ryan, who's going to play a decent amount in the scheme. Keanu O'Neal's even, I've heard, playing a little bit. They have him as safety. He's been playing linebacker and safety in his career. I think he's mostly going to be a safety with this team. So that's the main things to talk about Tampa Bay. I still expect them to win the division. I could see the Saints maybe up taking it from them, but still a really good team. And it's been a wacky offseason for them, but maybe that'll affect them a little bit. They should be fine. Now, let's talk about the West divisions. Let's start with hopefully the speed is up a little bit. We got the AFC West, Broncos, main things here. Russell Wilson's the quarterback. Really helps them. Get Aquabunam. Aquabunam is their tight end. Most people just call him Albert because it's his long last name, but we'll see. It's more potential. We haven't really seen much from him. He's in year 2, I believe, maybe even 3, but either way, we'll see what he is as a tight end. He just hasn't played a ton because they had no fan who they traded, which we'll talk about when we get to the Seahawks part of this video. Defensively, D.A. Jones really should be a help for them. He's really good with the 49ers. And Randy Gregory, we'll see. I like him. It just never really plays a full season for whatever reason. They did sign Joe Schobert recently. I think they have a little bit of question marks about the middle linebackers on this team, inside linebackers. Bradley Chubb, I think, is a little bit overrated. He's been fine. He's a fine player. But he's been nothing special. And so, front seven's a lot of good. I don't know if there's anything crazy or superstar here. And then secondary is really good. It's Sertain. Darvish, the other outside guy. You got a lot of guys competing for that nickel. Jackson, Asian player. He's on the decline just from last year. Watching him. And then Justin Simmons, really good safety, one of the best in the league. That's the Broncos here. Again, really good receiving core. Don't even really speak about that. Just trying to talk about anything really new. So the Broncos, I have it 9-8 and missing the playoffs, but they should have at least 7-8 wins, and then maybe they can get 10 or 11. It's just competitive AFC. Everyone's talking about it, and it will lower the records of the other teams in this conference. It's just how it's going to be. Chiefs. People underrate this team, I feel. Even though people might even have them third, second seed. So they have a little bit of underrating this team. Running backs, I don't know if Ronald Jones will make the team, but besides, it's pretty much the same guys. They do got Isaiah Pacheco from Rutgers. We'll see what he can do. Like Juju, I think he's going to be back to what he was before. I think he's going to be playing slot and outside receiver for them. And I would expect him to get his old numbers back. Get around 90, maybe 100 catches. They're going to use him. It's going to be Kelsey and then him. McCall Harmon, maybe he's that guy too, but not as high. He's been fine. He's been here for a while now. Just hasn't been the superstar. And then you got Valdez-Scantling from Green Bay. More of a deep threat. You got 2 deep threats. Get Schuster, who can play anywhere. You got Kelsey. And then you got Sky Moore, who can play some slot for them, rookie. And then I don't know if I've heard some decent things about Watson. We'll see. Other than that, these other guys have been on the team. Just who knows, like Josh Gordon, Corey Coleman, but these guys. Well, obviously, Josh Gordon had a great start of his career, but I just don't know if they're going to make this team. Blake Bell's okay tight end. Again, that's the change. It's really the receivers change. Offensive line, let's say it's pretty good. Not a lot's changed there. Defensively, just think more of the pass rush and defensive ends have changed here. If Mike Donna, is not the starter here, maybe it's just the early down starter, and then you got Dunlap, give you a pass rusher. Frank Clark, George Karlaftis is probably a player from early downs. So you can even give him some of a pass rush as well. You got more of a rotation this year on the outside. And Willie Gay, Nick Bowen have been pretty good in his early years. Bowen was a rookie. Willie Gay, I think, was in his second year last year. You got Jermaine Carter and Harris. We'll see what they do. Elijah Lee can play a little bit, probably more of a special teams guy. McDuffie they drafted first round. So they have him and Snead. For Fenton, we'll see where he plays, but he's fine. And I've even heard some good things about Josh Williams. So potential surprise here. He might be their outside corner as well. Again, but it's gonna be tough when Snead and maybe McDuffie plays nickel. I don't know what they want to do with McDuffie. He can kind of play anywhere. Justin Reed, people act like this is such a downgrade from this Tyrann Mathieu. It really isn't. Mathieu was on the decline. I think Reed will give them pretty much what they had with Mathieu last year. And Juwan Thornell's fine. You got Brian Cook in the draft. I think they improved overall. Defensively, things improved. Offensively, I kind of like more of the depth and the more of the guys they got than just Tyreek Hill. So an offensive line's still going to be pretty good. I think this team's going to be perfectly fine, if not even better than last year. Let's go to the record. So the Chiefs, 13-4, third seed. For me, I don't know if you could really get much better than that, but they could easily, get the first, second seed too. So not out of the question. Obviously, they could be worse, but I can't see them less than 11 wins. The Raiders, actually, from preseason, just talk around the league. This is probably more of a running back by committee. Amendola might be third down back with Ken Drake. Maybe Josh Jacobs does some of that. Zamir White can do that too. But they're going to have a rotation, it seems. Maybe Josh Jacobs last year, they just go full throttle with him, but I doubt it. If they're doing anything like the Patriots have done, really haven't done that since like the Corey Dillon years. Or even look at Garrett Blunt a little bit, but even then, he had some other guys around 2012-ish. Devontae Adams is the big trade for this team. The question is, it's gonna be hard to get the amount of targets, but he might have maybe a little bit higher. The rate of him getting targeted maybe will catch more of those targets, like a percentage of them. But it's gonna be tough because you got Darren Waller. I know most teams probably double team Adam, but I don't know. You're gonna leave Waller by him 1-on-1. It's gonna be very tough. And you got Hunter Renfrow, obviously, good slot receiver. And then outside, is it really gonna be Keelan Cole, or maybe Tyron Johnson, or Mac Hansbrough? He hasn't shown that. But those should be those receivers at least. At least you get Adams, Renfrow, Waller. A tight end, you got Foster Moreau, another pretty good tight end. Offensive line's a big question mark for this team. The only one other than the top 5 linemen they have on here, I guess you can think about Luminor and Brandon Parker. The other guys potentially could get starting jobs here, but it's not good. Just tell you that. Like Cole Miller's the only one I feel confident in, and everyone else is it's not great. Defensively, looks like they've had some. They cut some defensive tackles, and then they had some injuries also here at defensive tackles. So maybe they get some other players here. Maybe they get a Sue, or it could be anyone. But that's a question. I mean, Billings is fine, below Nichols is fine, but it's not great. And then you got Chandler Jones, which is improvement. On the other side of Max Crosby, it's going to be really tough to block these guys. Clan Farrell will be in the rotation, I guess, but he hasn't been anything like the number 4 overall pick. And here we got Divine Diablo. He's going to be starter pretty much. He play a lot for them. And actually looks pretty good at the end of the year. Denzel Perriman, obviously, he's having some decent years here with the Raiders. And so I always liked him. I didn't love him, but he's playing his best football of his career. Jayon Brown, they also got from Tennessee. And then they got Rock Houston in the Ngakoue trade with Nate Hobbs. Some reason I didn't know. Maybe someone can answer this in the comment. Traylon Mullen, I don't know why he's all the way down there. Maybe these other guys I just like more. I've always been like Traylon Mullen just because of the talent. I know he hasn't played up to that talent, but I'm just a little surprised by that. Another guy I miss is Kyle Factor. Looks like he's on injured reserve, so he won't probably be playing for this team. But that would have been another guy to add to the pass rush. And then safeties, decent bunch. I think you can have Harmon in the rotation. Should be those 3 guys mostly. It's about average or below average. I think Abrams is a little bit overrated, even though he's not even an average safety at this point. Moore could be something like an average safety. He's going in his second year, I believe. Going on to the record though. I'm having a losing record 8-9. It's just gonna be tough. It could be the Broncos with the losing record. It could be the Chargers with the losing record. Don't see the Chiefs being that team. But I just didn't love their team. I think they got some breaks last year to get in the playoffs. Obviously, some bad breaks in the playoffs themselves, but to get there with an interim coach, great. But I don't think they were as good as their record last year. I know and I actually I think they improved, but I just with the schedule and they're gonna have a second place schedule, so it's gonna be tough. Now Chargers. The only question really is right tackle. They drafted Zion Johnson. Should be a really good guard for them. Filer is just a replacement level guard or borderline starter. Maybe Isaiah Spiller gets a little bit of the workload, but Roundtree and Kelly are just whatever backs at this point. They're usable. They don't get anything extra, or they're just replacement level backs. Receiver wise, you wish you had a speed threat on this team, able to sign one, but it's really Guy and Josh Palmer for those third receivers. Guy's really the only guy, maybe with some speed that can get down the field. Deep speed, at least. DeAndre Carter will be a special teams guy, you would think. And offensively, obviously Gerald Everett's replacing Cook. I don't know how Donald Parham got hurt last year, but he could be one of the better tight ends in this league. He's got a 6'8" guy with a lot of talent. Got a lot of touchdowns with this team. He just had a really bad concussion last year, and he's questionable right now, so we'll see. Defensively, he's still Tillery. He's been a disappointment pretty much. Covington, Morning 5 will play a little bit. But obviously, Khalil Mack, a big addition to this team with Bosa. Kenneth Murray, who got hurt last year really early, I think week 2, if I'm correct. And Tranquil will play a little bit. Well, maybe not even a little bit, play a good amount. So the front seven is definitely better than last year. I don't think they might still have problem run defensive, on the run defense. It's going to be a little bit better than last year. They were pretty much one of the worst, if not the worst. So we'll see about that. Austin Johnson, Joseph Day should help them. Who they signed. Derwin James, they have still. Hopefully, he plays a lot this year. Played a good amount last year. And then, just got a big deal. Chauncey Samuel, he's not perfect right now. I mean, no one really is, but I think the name, I like him. I just think he's not even an average level corner so far, at least as he's shown. Bryce Callahan didn't play really that well. Either he was on the decline or just had a bad year. J.C. Jackson, though, they just signed. Paid him a lot of money. Should really help this team. The Sierra Alley is another safety they use. And that's the Chargers there. So that was the AFC West. The Chargers I have a 9-8 with the Broncos actually making the playoffs because of the division record. This is a team that can probably split a game with the Chiefs. Played them tight. They could have easily won both games last year. They could have lost both. But they just are a good matchup with the Chiefs, and that's the main reason why I have them in the playoffs. Let's go to the NFC West. Last four teams, guys. Thanks for you're still listening. 40 minutes in. Here, not big changes. Obviously, back at running back, Darrell Williams is now here. We still have Benjamin. Nothing special behind James Conner. James Conner's not really that special, but he had a good year, statistically especially. Hopkins gonna have a 6-game suspension, but they got enough receivers. AJ Green, and Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. Marquise Brown obviously had an off the field thing. Probably won't get suspended for that though. And then they traded for him. Has a minor injury right now, I believe. Maybe he's back. Either way, got him on that side with AJ Green. You got Rondale Moore in the slot. Wesley is another outside body, big guy. And then they got, Zach Ertz still and Trey McBride they drafted. Max Williams coming off an injury. So they have a lot of guys there. Offensive line. Right guard's a big question. Will Hernandez. Just think about this. Will Hernandez could barely start on one of the worst offensive lines last year. He's now on this team. Just like Justin Pugh, another former Giants offensive lineman, but he's at least a solid player. And Rodney Hudson, kind of like on the retirement fence. He's playing the question about the interior offensive line here. Defensively, we'll see what J.J. Watt is after another injury. Defensive line isn't really good. Linebackers, we'll see what Zaven Collins will be. I like him. Isaiah Simmons kind of been a little disappointing because he's just been a fine player. And then the secondary is this could be the worst defense in the league. People don't really realize that. I like the safeties in Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson. They got some other guys behind. They could probably play a little bit. But Marco Wilson and Antonio Hamilton are probably the outside corners here. With Byron Murphy in the slot. Or Byron Murphy can be an outside corner a little bit, and then when they have a slot corner on the field, he'll move inside. But there's nothing else here. I mean, Josh Jadden was a second-round pick for Green Bay. He's not done anything really. And I just don't see how they don't have a great pass rush. They lost Chandler Jones. Corners aren't very good. As the safeties are, maybe they'll cover up a little bit. And the schemes, Vance Joseph, I'm not really high on Vance Joseph, but he at least mixes it up a little bit. But there's no real way to disguise or cover up all these flaws of this team. And for that reason, and it's just a lot of questions with this team. And just their schedule is very tough playing the AFC West as well, besides their division. I have them 6-11. I think that's more of a low end. But even if they split the division like I have them, that's half their wins. It's just very tough schedule. And usually they start off hot early. they don't get that hot start without DeAndre Hopkins and stuff. The scheme has been kind of figured out every year, and even with the new stuff, by mid-season they're kind of figured out. And you play physical against this team, that's when teams had success, and people learned about that or learned that how to play physical against Cardinals last year, and it worked out later in the year. Because their only win really was the Dallas win at the end of the year. They didn't play well at all. Super Bowl champion Rams, against Alvarez, the elbow injury. I would question maybe week one, coming out of the gate, how he'll play, but maybe have some long term concerns. But I think from all what it sounds like, he's fine. He's making all the throws. They're just being cautious with him at least. Again, running backs. It's going to be Darrell Henderson, I guess, and Cam Akers, which is fine. Cam Akers didn't play a lot last year, coming off an injury in the offseason of 2021. Cooper Kupp, obviously, had a crazy year. Probably will have similar numbers. Yeah, Allen Robinson in the mix. See how he fits in this puzzle. Coming off an injured down year with the Bears. And Jefferson, he's been a little bit hurt. So we'll see. So we don't know if these guys are all going to be ready week one. That's another thing. And then they got Ben Skoranek, if I'm saying that right. He played a little bit in the Super Bowl and some other game. Tutu Atwell in the second year. That's their speed threat. Other than that, Brandon Powell. Lance McCutcheon looked good in the preseason as a rookie. So we'll see. Maybe he'll be added to this mix. Tight end is pretty much just Higbee. I mean, Bland played a little bit. I don't think he's anything special. Offensive line, we'll see how Shelton is, and Noteboom is now full-time starter. So, again, we've only seen limited play from him. But so that could be a concern, but we're going to have to wait and see, I guess, on that. Greg Gaines is going to have more of a role in this team. A'Shaun Robinson was really good. He's like the forgotten guy on this team. Aaron Donald, we don't even need to talk about. Arguably the best player in the league. Leonard Floyd, really good. He's versatile too, but he's a good pass rusher. And then you got Bobby Wagner added to this team. He is on the decline, but he's still top 10 linebacker probably. Ernest Jones can do some things with him. Though, is it going to be Holland or Terrell Lewis and the other outside linebacker across from Floyd? That's another thing we're going to have to see because they don't have Von Miller now. So, other than that, I got Ramsey play anywhere. Really good corner. I think he's not my number one, but it's just because he's not a number one cover corner. He's not in the top 5 cover corner. He just has everything else he's great at. And then he's a really good cover corner, just not top 5 or he's probably top 10. So all that, he is a really good corner. And then Troy Hill, he's been on this team. Went to the Browns, came back. Got David Long in here. I don't really love these other corners, but that's what they have. And then it's Taylor Rapp and Nick Scott. Don't really love that either. Maybe Jordan Fuller. If it gets healthy and all, he could be a starter. Again, we'll see. And that's the Rams. No, they should be fine. I'm 12-5, 4-2 division. Then we're moving the 49ers. Big changes at quarterback, obviously. Jimmy Garoppolo will not probably be on this team, so we'll just ignore that. But Trey Lance is the guy. And people are just have over expectations for him to be like Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be that. It's just not happening. He's not that kind of guy. But he's very talented. I like him. But he is going to miss throws. He's going to make some plays. And we haven't really seen him be healthy because he's been injured in even both of his starts last year. And even preseason, he got an injury to his finger or whatever. I think it was preseason. So in all, like, you have to see if you could say he can play a full season. Didn't play a lot in college, but he's very talented. Running back, they got multiple guys. Davis Price is a rookie they drafted from, I think, LSU. And then Trey Sermon they drafted 2 years ago. Elijah Mitchell was a rookie last year, but now is in the second year, like Trey Sermon. Jeff Wilson's also still on this team. That's pretty good. Debo Samuel, Ayuk, we know who they are. Juwan Jennings has played a little bit. Ray McLeod is more of a special teams guy, but maybe they'll use him. And Danny Gray they drafted, so that's in the league turn they have. But we'll see what Danny Gray adds to this team. I think he's going to be exciting for them. And obviously they have George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league. Tyler Crofts, he's a fine second tight end. And Warner's been on this team. Ross Dwelly's been on this team. Offensive line, I guess you can say the guards or interior offensive line needs to prove himself, but again, it's wait and see kind of on that. Now, here, Kinlaw looks really good, just from what I've heard, coming off an injury from last year. Armstead, pretty good player for them. You got Nick Bosa. Now, is it Ebu Cam, the starter, and Drake Jackson from USC they drafted in the second round? The third down guy, or how they're going to do, I don't know. Kerry Hyder's even on this team. Kimiko Toure from Rutgers, he's in the mix. They got a bunch of guys in the mix for the other side of Bosa. And DJ Jones is a big loss, but it would, with Armstead and Kinlaw. Hassan Ridgeway is fine. But they got some guys they can put in here to fill that role. And in Greenlaw and Fred Warner is one of the best. They got those guys inside. You got Al-Shiar? I don't know why I can't say that right now, but Aziz Al-Shiar, he's a solid player for them. I know I'm saying it wrong. But, and then Aaron Burks be a special teams guy for them. Former Green Bay Packer last 4 years. Manuel Mosley's probably the outside corner with Ward. And then they got Jason Verrett too, so maybe one of them will play nickel, but Dante Johnson's on this team. Ebry Thomas, maybe he's in the mix. Other than that, that's what they got. I've heard some things. I don't see him on here. Can't think of his name. So I apologize there, but he did really good in the preseason against Green Bay. Either way, so they have some other guys that could be in the mix. Safeties, you got Jimmy Ward, but the other guys are questions somewhat. They did lose Jaquiski or Jaquaski Tart, however you want to say it. But still, defense should be really good. Top 5, 10-ish. And offense should be more explosive, but there's going to be a little bit learning curve for Trey Lance. I still have him as a playoff team, but that's probably maybe a little high at 11 wins, but that's what I got for the 49ers and 3-3 in the division. Last team, guys. You're almost done this video. I really appreciate you still listening if you are here. Seattle, you got Geno Smith, Drew Lock competing. Geno Smith's going to be the guy, I'm pretty sure. Again, and then Drew Lock having COVID this week, not playing. Might have hurt him a little bit. It's obviously not going to be practicing then. So it just overall hurts his chances probably be the starter. And they need to get someone ready. So Geno Smith been here in the system. Stats-wise, he didn't look great, but I think he actually had some of his receivers just drop the ball and stuff. Geno Smith is a top 35-ish quarterback. I thought he got too much blame with the Jets and stuff, but he wasn't good with the Jets, just being frank about it. But he is better than Drew Lock at this point. I even like Lock, some of the potential of Lock, but too many mistakes. He's been in the league for a few years now. It shouldn't have these mistakes. Either way, running back, it's going to be Penny mostly. Ken Walker, I really like. He might have even been my top running back. Just he's hurt right now, a hernia, and so it's probably be Travis Homer and DJ Dallas as the backups early on. Got Lockett, they got DK Metcalf, obviously Swain's been on this team. Eskridge going in the second year. We'll see what he does. Marquise Goodwin's on this team. That's a speed threat. Bo Melton and the other guys, JJ Arcega-Whiteside and Penny Hart. These guys are all competing for like a fifth, sixth receiver spot, special teams kind of guy. Tight end, Noah Fant. Well, if this was Russell Wilson's team, I kind of would like him more, but just don't know. I like Fant. I just don't know if he's going to get a lot of balls in this offense. Well, we'll see. The tackles looked fairly good, in preseason so far. Both rookies, first round pick, and I think a third. Damian Lewis did get hurt, but should be fine. So offensive line's better than people would think. No superstars yet. Gabe Jackson maybe was a pretty good player at one point, but these tackles become really good in even year one. It's going to be a pretty good offensive line. Now, defensively, Shelby Harris has been a really good player with the Broncos a long time. You got Punifor out of Woods. LJ Collier's in the mix, former first-round pick. Darryl Taylor, we'll see. As their outside linebacker, they are changing schemes to a 3-4. Got Jordan Brooks. Cody Barnes in the mix. Owusu can be, the outside linebacker, pass rusher. Now, corners, question. These are former really high picks that, I think both were second round. Been in the league for a while, but nothing special. Who's going to be the slot corner? Could be any of these guys, honestly. Justin Coleman, even. I got some guys competing for that job. Jamal Adams is obviously a pretty good safety. He gets more blame than he probably should, but isn't living up to the contract or the trade. But still, number 3 overall pick. Really good safety. And Quandre Diggs, the Pro Bowler. Pretty good. Guess we're going to have Josh Jones as the backup, play barely, and some more special teams. But that's the Seahawks. A lot of changes. I'm very high on the team, at least this year, but potentially be pretty good in the future, depending on the quarterback is and that stuff. But Joseph is going to be the guy probably for the most part of this year, and Drew Lock will probably get on the field just because they won't be winning a lot. I have them winning 5 games, 2-4 division record. I really appreciate you guys listening and watching. This video has been almost an hour. So the next video is honestly probably going to be week 1, not picks, but a preview to week 1. And we'll try to do that every week, preview and then a review of each week. If anything else comes up, I'll obviously post it. I don't expect me to do a regular season's, a preview or each team's record and how they got there. Kind of did that in these videos. And then, and I don't think I'm doing a top 80 quarterback or top whatever quarterback list. I will have that probably posted on my page. But again, everyone, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Enjoy these games, preseason, if you even watch them. And then, obviously, regular season coming up. Almost here, football season. And take care, guys.